Hey babe, let's get real for a minute. If you've been noticing thinning at the crown, or sore, tender spots on your scalp, or hair that just won't grow back no matter how many oils you slather on, I want you to stop blaming yourself and start getting informed.
I am back! What it do, baby?
Because listen, what you might be dealing with isn't just breakage or stress. This could be something that's been passed down to you generation after generation due to habits that you refuse to let go of. Talk about breaking generational curses, because what you might be dealing with, like I said, isn't just breakage or stress.
The moment y'all all been waiting for. Amora about to get her princess cover up. Amora, hey big girl. I hope she don't cry. I seen a girl make a post on here and she was like, if my baby is bald head, she's not getting no braids, she's not getting no princess cover up. Baby, that's on you, because one thing I can't stand is no bald head kids. Like, no shade. I especially can't stand no bald headed girl. Especially if the hair is 4C. I'm sorry. I just cannot stand it. I don't like when people have kids that's bald headed and just put a bow or just leave their hair matted up and stuff. Like, y'all don't understand and know that braids actually grow kids' hair. Like, my baby hair and my stepdaughter hair, she have good hair, but her hair was small. Like, once she started getting them braids, that literally made her hair grow. So yes, if I have a bald head daughter, she's getting a princess cover up. I'm sorry, cause y'all literally don't do anything else with the hair. Y'all can't do nothing else with the hair. Y'all just have to find a very professional braider that's very good with kids, that don't have a lot of retention on the kid's head, and yes, they will be all right. But I ain't gonna lie, y'all be having these kids walking around here hair matted, natted, bald head, and y'all be having bust downs, boho braids. Y'all be looking to the team. Y'all kids, y'all daughters' hair be itty bitty and all napped up. Y'all don't even try to comb it out. So yes, my child will be getting a princess cover up. If I have a bald head baby, that's definitely my first go-to. And I'm sorry, no shade.
I'm not sorry. This is all shade. It's so really disheartening to constantly hear Black women say this, because if you were to just broaden your horizons and maybe join a group that, you know, isn't predominantly Black, and you see them post pictures of their babies, most of their babies, not only do they have really short hair, a lot of their babies are skin bald. And the human hair growth cycle is anywhere between 2 to 7 years, which means that it could be up into your baby's like 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th birthday that their hair just starts to grow rapidly, and then before you know it, their hair's down their back. But if you look at this mother and her baby has absolutely no hair. But we just watched Black women take in their 4-month-old babies to get braids and things of that nature, because for whatever reason you believe that a baby is supposed to have super long hair. So look at the standards that you hold children to. They're the same standards that you guys hold each other to. So you take your own insecurities and you put those insecurities on your children. So little girls grow up like, since they could remember, they've been having braids and tight gels and braids and all of these things within the hair, because their mothers won't take the time to take the accountability or to have the honesty. And you know, I didn't study anything with the human body. I don't know. Let me find out. Because when we really sit down and break it down, I know that we want to believe this, but braids do not protect your hair. Braids and tension are some of the leading causes of CCCA within the Black community. And we're going to get into the science of it in a second, I promise, but we have to unpack this first, because with my clients now, the majority of my clients that are suffering from CCCA are in their they're in their late 50s, right? But you guys don't understand that these things started when you were a child, because the things that we're like, oh, this is outrageous in this video. These are things that you believe in. These are things that most black women do. When you see other little girls from other races, they do not have tight braids and ponytails and all of that. But in the black community, as soon as your daughter got a Thumbelina length of hair, you're putting big bows, tight braids and ponytails and all of those things. And you take that, oh, I don't really want no bald head baby. Well, guess what? Your baby's supposed to be bald head, right? There's a point in your baby's life where they'll have cradle cap every 5 minutes, and your baby may be a bald headed scallywag with no hair in the back just for a second, right? A baby scallywag. It could happen. But the thing is, we have to get out of putting our own insecurities on our babies. I'm going to show you this last little clip, and then we're going to start unpacking some of the key points that you should be thinking about when it comes to CCCA. All right. So what is CCCA and why should you care? Why should you be concerned about it at all? CCCA stands for Centrifugal Cicatricial Alopecia. I know it's a mouthful, right? And it has a tendency to form so many different bald patches and different things that we see on the human scalp, right? It's a form of scarring hair loss that starts dead center on your crown and spreads outward. The big thing that makes this so serious, what's the big thing? Well, it's not regular shedding. It's inflammation that destroys your hair follicles, and once they're scarred over, the hair can't grow back. Let me say that again, if CCCA goes untreated, that bald spot becomes permanent. So why is CCCA so common in the black community, and why is it so overlooked? So here's where things get a little frustrating, because CCCA hits black women the hardest, and yet most of us and even a lot of doctors don't recognize it until the damage is already done. And there are a few reasons why. The first one is because we've been taught to normalize thinning edges or crown breakage. We think this is something normal. If you see it pop up with you, you like, oh, it happened to my auntie, baby cousin, sister Tracy, so it happened to me too. And some stylists chalk it up to stress or just tension in styles. And a lot of dermatologists are also unfamiliar with textured hair, and they misdiagnose it as eczema or traction alopecia, because most are really familiar with the things that you do like this. You think that this is something good for your daughter's hair, but this is one of the worst things that you can do to your baby's hair. This little girl is in the very first couple of years of her human hair growth cycle, which is about 7 years. And within that first 7 years, right, this is probably her first 1 to 2, 3 years, right? And she's putting so much tension on her follicle that her hair is being pushed into the telogen phase of her hair growth cycle before she can make it through the first 7 years of the anagen phase, right? It's so important. And let's be honest, a lot of us have been taught to hide the hair issues instead of confronting them. But CCCA isn't about being, all bad and taking care of our hair. It's not about a hygiene thing. It's about laziness sometimes, but not all the time. You know how I feel about laziness. And it's not just from protective styles all the time. It's your patterns and your routines. This is a real medical condition, and it deserves real attention. So what is the science behind it? What should we really be paying attention to? What are the styles that we should actually be wearing? Most of us stray away from videos that don't tell you what type of braids or updos or twisties you can do. If a professional cosmetologist that knows what they're talking about, or a trichologist or a dermatologist that knows what they're doing, they'll come to you and say, hey, stay away from these high tension styles. And then I say, well, okay, if you do those things, you're going to have breakage and things of that nature, and throwing your hair growth cycle off with attention and all of the things. It's like, oh, well, I can't do that. I can't do that because I sweat. Well, there are ways around it, because at the end of the day, you have a lot of options, but these options are going to cause you to let go of some of the hairstyles that you won't let go of. It's the truth. Right? So I digress. The science behind it is really, really important. So let's make it very clear, right? Genetics play a very big role, and researchers have found that a mutation in a certain gene, which helps to proper hair growth shaft formation, to make sure the formation of your hair growth is all intact, it may be linked to CCCA, but this is more over linked to your patterns and your routines. And then inflammation is the villain here. It attacks your hair follicles at the crown and causes them to shrink and eventually scar over. So this is when you have to ask yourself, what is the thing that's causing the inflammation? I tell you guys all the time, first there's a trigger, and then after the trigger there's the inflammation, and after the inflammation then there's the disorder. So we have our triggers, which are the oils, the butters, the greases, the braids, right? For other races, too much hair color too frequently, right? And things of that nature. But when we're talking about not shampooing the hair and causing so many type of bacterial infections, that is the trigger that's leading to the inflammation. And so your environmental triggers like heat, relaxers, tight styles, and chemical exposure worsen these conditions, but they don't cause it. It just worsens it. Remember, we're talking about things that trigger your inflammation. And if we're being real and authentic without you getting upset and mad about what I'm saying, the majority of the practices that Black women have all cause inflammation. All of the things that you call your cultural practices and the things that you have to do are all triggers that form the inflammation that lead to the CCCA. But it is a fact. And if you look at my reviews from inside the 7-day challenge and the growth cycle blueprint, the second they stop all of the triggers and change their patterns and routines, the inflammation stops, the CCCA goes away, and their hair begins to grow back in those spots that laid dormant. So how do you know if you have CCCA, and what can you do about it? Well, for one, stop being so offended anytime somebody says something you ain't never heard before, so you can catch those early signs. So the first early sign is thinning or a bald spot at the crown that keeps growing. Pay attention to your hair on a regular basis. If you comb and brush your hair on a daily basis and your hands are in your head on a daily basis, you know if whether or not you're going bald, and you need to pay attention. You're in co-creation of your body. You see a bald spot coming or anything changing your skin, anything, the first thing you need to do is stop. Get a journal out. Shameless plug, link in the description box below. I have the 7-day challenge journal, baby. Get that. And as you make that a part of your daily routine, and as you make that a part of your daily habits, you'll be able to spot like, okay, my hair is thinning out. And you'll also be able to look, what have I been eating? What chemicals have I been putting in my hair? What shampoos and conditioners have I been trying? What heavy oils and butters and greases have I been using? These are things that you have to pay attention to, right? The scalp feels tender to touch, or itchy, or even painful to touch. That's another sign to watch for. Or if you have breakage that won't stop no matter what you use, it doesn't matter what product you use, it just seems like you can't stop the breakage in that area, that is a really, really big sign. And the thing is, if there's no bald spot but the hair keeps breaking there, that means that you are at the beginning stages, but you can change around your diets, your habits, and all of those things to begin to strengthen the hair in that section. But you're gonna have to lose your offense, you know, because I know it's a bunch of people that's watching this, like it's a bunch of people, grandkids that watch this having reaction video parties, mad. Look at, she don't know what she talking about. Girl, be quiet. Okay, these are the things that I want you to try to test out. And the thing is, the reason that a lot of y'all are losing y'all followers is because when you tell people, oh, she lying, da 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 da, this and that, and they come see for themselves, I'm gonna tell them to test it out for themselves to see. And then they test it and they see what it is. So it's not a big deal. So you test it too and get your panties out your butt. Okay, get your panties out your booty. Right? So again, the breakage that won't stop, that is a sign that your hair is getting very fragile in that area, and then you have little to no regrowth in certain areas. Normally your hair will break off, but then maybe you grow back and you're on this tug of war with your hair, but then now it's not coming back. These are the things that you have to pay attention to. So what's the first thing that you want to do? I love y'all so much, but social media and YouTube has made y'all believe that if you run into certain problems like this, that there's some type of product that they sell over the shelf that you'll be able to use to make the CCCA go away. It's not true, right? It's not true. But the first thing that I recommend for you is for you to go see a dermatologist or a trichologist who understands textured hair and scarring alopecia. A proper scalp exam or even a biopsy will tell you what's really going on, right? And these patterns and routines that are popping up on the screen right now that I want y'all to see.
Before you put on a do-rag for a wash and style, make sure to wash your forehead, behind your ears, and the back of your neck. Then brush your hair back into place, put on your do-rag, then you can rinse your hair out. But don't forget,
the reason that I'm telling you that you want to make sure you're going to somebody who's familiar with textured hair is because you need to go to somebody who's familiar with the things that black people do. Not because the black scalp is different from a Caucasian scalp, is different from a Hispanic scalp. No. That's not what I mean. I'm saying you want to go to somebody who's familiar with the practices that black people have, like the oiling and buttering and the greasing of the scalp, the braids, and so many other things. I have a couple of dermatologists that I work with that have told me stories where they just completely stop having certain clients. They tell them, hey, don't put this in your hair. Don't stop wearing braids. You do not need to wear braids until this is healed. And every time they see them, every time they come in for their appointment, they have braids. So she told her, hey, if you have braids, the next time I see you, that I'm no longer going to be able to take you on as a client. This is after 4 years of her being her client, and she has CCCA, and they're trying to fix it and repair it, and she will not listen. So she says, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to service you anymore. And that is the place that a lot of black women are in, whether you want to admit it or not. Because when it comes to CCCA and the different treatments, we have to be real. No oil or edge growth serum or anything is going to fix this by itself. You need help on a medical level. So do not go in there to see your dermatologist and give your dermatologist suggestions that you've seen on YouTube. Because if we're being honest, when it comes to CCCA and the causes, it comes from an external source. Now, sometimes it can affect or be directly connected to your diet. We talked about that in part 1 and 2. Make sure you check those videos, but that's an easy fix, right? If you change your diet, if you're intentional, if there are certain things that you refuse to make a part of your regimen, if there's certain things that you exit out of the regimen, everything works out. So when you go in to see a dermatologist and you have a skin biopsy, I need you to understand that if your dermatologist has done a skin biopsy, what they've done is they've taken skin from your scalp that where the different forms of yeast and bacteria or whatever it is, what is living there, and they look at it under a microscope and they assess it. They find out exactly what form of yeast, bacteria, exactly what number of different Demodex parasites you have, if they're outrun, all of the things, and then they give you a set regimen. But see, this is the problem. A lot of people don't see results that they want to see because you want to do the things that cause cause the CCCA and what the dermatologist is doing, telling you to do at the same time. The dermatologist is telling you to shampoo your hair every couple of days and to put this ointment on your scalp. And you're like, oh, well, it's an oil, so I can put other oils on. No, that the thing that you're putting on your scalp, that is something that is used to carry the medication that is going to kill whatever that form of the trigger of the inflammation is, right? These are the things that I need you to understand. But think about this. If you are a woman that says, and I get this so much, right? So much. They'll be like, oh, well, I'm going to the dermatologist and nothing's working, right? I'm putting the ointment on every day and nothing's working, and it's drying my hair out. And it's like, okay, well, it's supposed to dry your hair out because it's killing yeast and bacteria that you've let overgrow on your scalp. Oh, well, it's not working, even though, and I'm using my growth oils too. Hey, that's why it's not working. The oils, the butters, and the greases were the trigger that caused the inflammation. So that caused your CCCA. So then you go to see a dermatologist. The dermatologist is going to give you something to kill everything that is the inflammation, and you continue to use the thing that the dermatologist gave you to kill the inflammation. You continue to use the trigger for the inflammation. Do you see the cycle? It's not that what the dermatologist is giving you isn't working. You're not allowing it to work. And these are the things that we have to think about. These are the things that we have to be accountable for. We have to ask ourselves, why is hair care, when it comes to Black people, things that allow you to be lazy? Why is it that whenever your little girls and things of that nature have hair that's shorter, why is it that little Black girls are the only ones that are expected to have long hair at birth? We constantly talk about how other races and people from the outside world are talking about us, but if we are really real and if we're really authentic and if we really look at it for what it is, the discomfort, the insecurity, it starts at home. Because you're even calling little girls bald-headed and making little girls feel bad about it. Only Black people do that to each other. Most races have skin bald-headed, booted babies. But it's only in the Black community where if your baby has bald patches like every other race does, you're doing princess cover-ups. Like, what in the hell? These are the things that we have to think about. The reason that I put that first is because once you get in your 40s and 50s and your hair is breaking off and you're balding and all of the things, you're like, oh my God, I don't understand what I did. It started as a child. As a child, your hair growth cycle was never able to start off properly. You never made it through a full 7 years without tension pushing you into the telogen phase of your hair growth cycle. It never happened. Because most little Black girls are pushed into telogen effluvium when they're babies. So these are the things that I want you guys to pay attention to. So again, step one is going to be you getting diagnosed. You need to see a dermatologist who understands textured hair and scarring alopecia. And a proper scalp exam or even a biopsy will tell you what is really going on in your scalp. And this is why the treatment options that you have, like topical steroids, which can calm down the inflammation to prevent more damage, or sometimes they give you oral meds, right, which I really recommend. They're anti-inflammatory pills or antibiotics that help to manage in advanced cases. Or you have minoxidil, like Rogaine, which helps to stimulate some hair growth in active areas. Check the link in the video below. I have a video all about that. Or you have PRP therapy, and that's where your own blood plasma full of growth factors gets injected into the scalp. It sounds wild, but it really works for some people, right? And let me know if you guys want me to do a full video on that, because I will. And then you have laser therapy and microneedling, which is great because these emergent options are really, really great, and they have a lot of growing success, right? But there's so many different things that you can do. But the problem is you've demonized everything that doesn't consist of braids, right? So if you wear your hair straight because you are locked into this mental like, oh, in slavery, and if you wear your hair straight you don't like being black, and because you're stuck in that mind frame, then anything that resembles your hair being stretched is something that makes you feel away. Well, guess what, girl? I don't know what to say to you. That's the deepest thing that I gotta say. I don't know, okay? Because hair care is actually very simple. And if you don't want to wear your hair bone straight, the flexi rod sets, perm rod sets, roller sets, what you call those things? Curl formers, they have so many different variations. But understand, the tighter the curl is that you do, the more breakage you're probably gonna have, because you still have to comb your hair. And these are things that I want you to think about right now. I love y'all. I really hope that y'all like this little kick it, little chill, get back. And this is how we're gonna do things, you know. I'm gonna let y'all look at AI send out or whatever. This is how it's gonna be, and we're just gonna chill, because I don't want us to constantly be irritated about things that are very, very simple and very simplistic. Because when it comes to CCCA, this is something that again is triggered by constant pulling and tugging, inflammation. It's all about inflammation. And again, if you just take a list of all of the favorite things, all of black women's favorite things to do, their favorite styles to wear, all of the things, those are the things that cause a maximum amount of inflammation, and that's all it is. So a lot of times when you go see your dermatologist that isn't necessarily familiar with all of the habits and patterns that black women have, most people that don't follow the patterns and routines, they cannot comprehend the mind frame of somebody not shampooing the hair for 6 months. They can't comprehend getting braids that hurt so bad that you have to pop a Tylenol to evade the pain and things of that nature. So these are not things that are taken into consideration, right? So I really need you guys to really take time to sit down and think about what things you can do and what changes you can make to your everyday patterns and your everyday routines that help you to lower the triggers of the inflammation, right? That causes you to change your patterns and routines. And also it calls for a lot of inner work, right? A lot of inner work that causes you to look at stuff like, why am I so bent out of shape about the texture that my hair is? Why is my identity as black woman tied into whether or not I'm wearing my hair curly or straight? Why am I really rage baited so much to think that I still have to do maintenance and I gotta wash my butt every day, but I can go weeks and months without combing my hair? Ask yourself, why is it that every other race on the planet can use a comb and a brush, but as a black woman I'm not supposed to? These are all of the questions that you need to ask yourselves. And if you don't get valid answers, I need you to get used to stepping back and being like, okay, if I can't get valid answers for these questions, then maybe I should switch things up, right? Those are things that I want you to think about. And in the next video, the next like little chit chat we do, right, from inside Send Out World, we are going to talk about menopause, right? And we're going to break down menopause from a lot of different races, a lot of different ethnic groups, and the patterns and routine that causes the menopause symptoms to worsen or